Rich Shea here with another unboxing. This time it's Terra Nova, Andreas Faul's remake of Terra Mystica in a slimmed-down version, published by Capstone Games. I had a chance to play it once. I really liked it. In fact, well, we'll go through it and then I'll tell you my thoughts. I think it's the kind of game that would be great in tournament play at events. So here's the rules, and we can start through those. You're scoring points. You have a map. It looks like the Terra Mystica one. There are 5 double-sided faction mats and 5 colors to support them. Money, terrain tiles, some 80-point tiles in case you score a lot, bonus tiles that you pick a different one every round that you play in, some round scoring tiles that determine what you want to do that round, start player token, 2 action overview cards for the players, a palace tile for the sand cats, bunch of power tokens, some X's to block off used power moves, and players get 8 houses, 4 trading posts, 2 palaces, 2 faction markers, 3 bridges, 5 different town tiles. Maybe it's only 4 different town tiles for towns they could build during the game. There's a faction overview card, double-sided, corresponding to each side of the faction board. You start the game. For the 5 rounds of the game, each round will have a special bonus scoring thing that's randomly selected. There's a 2 to 4 player side of the board and a 2 only player side of the board, I think. Alright, you set up the board, you put out some of the bonus moves. I think it's a number of players plus 3, the tokens to mark converted land. The players set up. At the start of the game, players will put 2 houses, starting with the first player, going to the last player, then the last player takes their second house, and they go back towards the first player. And I think the sand cats maybe get an extra one. There's a suggested startup. There's a suggested first-time players factions and which bonus things to use. Okay, the factions have what the faction is. The cost in shovels to do the different terrain conversions. You have to convert terrain to your favorite kind of terrain. I think that's different in Terra Mystica. Shovels is not really like a separate thing. The 2 resources are money and power, magic power, okay? And you just pay for shovels, 6 coins, 12 coins, or you can use some of the available magic actions to do that. We'll talk about that later. Each faction has a special power that's shown at the top of their book. They have houses, trading posts, palaces. So you start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the 8. You're going to build 2 of them, 8. And that uncovers income that you're going to get when you take them off the board, off your player board, and put them on the map. You convert houses into trading posts, so you put the house back, throw the trading post out, and trading posts get converted into palaces. And it's coins to do it. It's 4 coins to place a house onto your terrain, or after it's been converted, however you did that. Trading posts are different. They cost 7 if you do the upgrade next to a different player's building, 10 otherwise. And palaces, it's 14 to upgrade a trading post to a palace. When you do that, you uncover income or possibly special actions, okay? And the 2 palaces have different things, so it's a strategic decision which palace you build first, okay? And it's an interesting decision. You can also build cities. A city is, buildings have a thing towards building a city. A city is 7, or with special powers 6, of at least 4 different buildings. Houses are only worth 1 of the 7 points you need. Trading posts are worth 2. Palaces are worth 3. Typically, you'll build a city with 1 palace and some other buildings to try to get the points together, and not try to make a tiny megalopolis. You need at least 4 buildings to make a city, no matter what, even if you have special powers reducing the cost from 7 of these points to 6. Okay. As soon as you build a city, you choose one of the 4 city bonus tiles and mark the city. Okay, and they're all different. You can only use each one once. Cities have to be built out of adjacent buildings, but bridges we'll get to that, can go across water to make spaces adjacent even when they're not. Okay. Phase 1, you collect income. Anything with a hand under it in terms of money or power is going to be income. Money, you just collect the coins. For power, there's a cycle familiar for Terra Mystica people. When power's in this stage, it's available to spend to do magical things. When it's expended, it goes here. If there's any power in here, it has to be moved out when you get power income until this is empty. Then you can move power from the second one to the spendable part. You can always spend it once you get it up here, but once there's some down here, income or new power you gain has to go there. The ways you gain it are, there's income for power sometimes, and when anybody builds something next to one of your buildings or upgrades, each of your building that got a building or an upgrade gets you 1 power move. Okay. So there's 7 actions. One is make a space habitable if it's not already your kind of terrain, and build a house on it. Upgrade a building from a house to a trading post to a palace. Okay. Increase your sailing ability. Sailing indicates how much reach you have across water. Reach is required to build on a space. Adjacency is required to make a city. So those are two slightly different concepts. And that's pretty much it. A bridge can increase your adjacency, but sailing lets you reach across the water, basically ignoring the number of spaces available equal to your sailing ability, which starts at 0. And you also get victory points, which is how you win the game, for when you increase your sailing ability. Building a bridge, which connects across water. We'll get to that. Taking a power action. Power actions are more efficient than spending money if you have the magical power, but each different power action is only available once per round. First come, first served, after they're gone. Things that you spend money for, you can do until you run out of money. Special actions are kinds of power actions that are only available to a player on their player board. Dropping out, when you're done spending money and resources, you drop out, which sets the turn order for the next round. Whoever drops out first will go first in the next round, and then second. So players don't necessarily go around clockwise. The order is player by player determined after the first round by your dropping out. You also will change your bonus card for the next round, and there's an optional thing you can do most times, which is convert 1 magical power into 1 coin. It's not the most efficient way to do it. Magical actions are always worth more than 1 coin when you do something else indirectly, but it's a way to both turn your power into coins at the end of the game for scoring, and also, if your magical income is too high, you can drain your magic to an appropriate level at the end, or at the end of your turn. Or if you just need 1 more coin to do that action, you can drop a magic token and get it. Each round is going to be a kind of scoring bonus. You'll get points for that when you take that action during that round. And it's different from round to round. Because it's randomly chosen, it's possible that it's an action that's hard to do. Like it's possible for build a palace is the bonus thing for the first round. Probably shouldn't let it happen, but if it happened, it's unlikely anybody's going to be able to do that on round 1. Just takes too many coins. Okay, then there's a discussion of adjacency and reach, like we talked about. Then a detailed explanation of each of the things, make habitable and build, where you basically, each faction has terrain they want, a kind of terrain that's easy to convert, and a kind of terrain that's expensive to convert. And then each time you do one of these conversions, you may build 1 house. Now, certain circumstances, especially with the power thing, you can get 2 shovels to use. You don't have to use them to convert just 1 piece of terrain, but you can still only build 1 house during that round. Does that make sense? Well, it's easy enough to understand in play. Upgrading a building, just play the cost, swap it in and out. It'll affect how your income's calculated. You'll put a house back, take a trading post off, and so you decreased your income from this, but increase your income from that. So you have to think about it a little bit. And which rounds will score you the most points when you do it. And again, whenever you do something next to another player, they can gain 1 power for each building next to the one that was upgraded or built. Okay. Founding a town, that's when you get 4 or more buildings that are adjacent, which means connected by a bridge if they're across water, or physically the hexes are next to each other. And they are worth 7 or more points. Then you immediately, as soon as you make the action that does that, you found the town, score the bonus, and then you're off. Okay. Increasing sailing, you just move up the sailing track, which increases your ability to reach across water and score some points. One of your points is for that. Building a bridge, pay 10 money, connect 2 spaces that have little pieces of bridge on them. We'll see that later. And then the power actions, which is build a bridge for 3 power and then build a bridge for 4 power. So there's 2 build a bridge actions available. Obviously, if you get to the 3 one first, it's cheaper. For 4 power, increase sailing. For 4 power, get 7 money, a very popular move. For 4 power, get a free shovel. Well, spend 4 power to get the shovel instead of 6 coins, or spend 6 power to get 2 free shovels, which can save you a boatload of money, okay, and actions. But afterwards, in each of these, you can only build 1 house, even if you did this for 2 different terrain spaces. Okay, and you might get bonus points for shovels or building houses. Special actions are on the player board. When you take a special action, you cover it with one of these little X markers. We'll see them later. And it's the same for the player. They can only take their special action once per round. When you drop out, you basically don't actually do an action. You might have the token that scores points when you drop out, in which case you take that action. Otherwise, you put the tile back, the bonus tile, and you take a new one. You cannot take the same one you took before. And you flip it face down to show you're done. And when you're using the option, which I think everybody will use, you move your marker to the turn order for the next round, the lowest one that's available. Okay. And also, you can take your power exchange at the end of your turn if you think that you might get too much power income, or you just want to have the money starting for some reason. Okay. Although you can always do the power exchange anytime during your turn, before or after an action. Okay. When the round ends and everybody's dropped out, take all the X tokens off, put money on each bonus tile that is that no player has. So bonus tiles that aren't as popular at the beginning of a game will get some extra money on them. When somebody finally takes them, they get that money as well. Flip over the round scoring tile to show that one's done and go on to the next round. At the end of the game, turn your power into money. Turn every 3 money into 1 point. Then you just score for the biggest territory, which is the largest collection of buildings that are within reach. If all your buildings are in reach, you just count each of your buildings 1, and that's your territory size. Largest territory scores 12, second 8, third 4, and if there's 4 players, 0 for the 4th player. In case of a tie, add the 2 numbers together, divide by 2. Since they're even numbers, it's always going to work out. So that a tie for first would be 12 plus 8 is 20, each get 10. And then the next player would be third. That's pretty much it. There's the dropout order variant, as I explained. When you drop out, you move your token to the other column, and that's your turn order the next turn, not necessarily just going around clockwise from the first player. There's some variants for 2 players where if you're not just playing straight up against each other, which I think you could, you put some dummy buildings on the board, okay, and you treat them as normal for some things, but not others. Then we go through the possible round scoring tiles, the town tile bonuses that are available. The bonus tiles, now you're not going to use all of them in most games, or in any game. It's the number of players plus 3 bonus tiles, if I remember correctly. There's an explanation of each of the factions, like the blue board has water sprites on one side, sea dogs on the other. And then the red, black, green, and yellow. They have slightly different variable powers. One side, tends to be a little easier to play, and also has the same power for the right palace, which is you can make a town with a value of 6 instead of 7, but you still have to have 4 buildings. And when you build a palace, it's possible that that will create a town that only needed 6, or a potential town that didn't have 7 but had 6 becomes a town. So those all could happen at once. Making a town happens whenever it happens. The rules are quite clear. I only had one question after reading them, which I'm pretty sure I understand and might have to look up, which is whether you get the gain of power adjacency bonus when you're placing buildings at the start of the game. So, not sure about that. Maybe not. All right. So now the actual components. Let's, unfortunately, the plastic is wrapped up. I shouldn't say unfortunately, because it's actually a very good thing. Sometimes plastic, the cardboard things can be damaged in transit, and this means that's not happening here. And the bag is a little oversized for the plastic, which is good. It's easy to get out. So let's go here. So that's the turn order arrangement board. Coins. These are the potential bonuses for each turn. It would be like whenever you use a shovel, get 2 points. If you build a town, get 5 points. If you place your castle, get 5 points. If these happen, the red arrow means when they occur, you get the points. Okay. These two things go together to make a starting player marker. The Sand Cats, I think, can get a discount. One of their castles gives them a discount when they build trading posts. Oh no, that's just their capability, I think. More money. The 5 tokens for the factions, and I think the other faction is on the back. Those are used over here on this board. These are the 8 potential bonus tile things, ranging from just a bunch of cash to an extra shovel build that turn that you get to use once, to bonus points at the end of your turn for having certain things. Okay, that's not... These tend to be when you take the action during the turn, the red arrows. These are how many total you have when you drop out. Okay, a lot of money, the X markers, the 4 city tokens for each player, which vary from just points to points in power, or money in points, or a river move plus points. Here's the extra 80 token, if you ever get there. Here's the terrain markers, a little more money, but the different 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So there's like 16 of each. They're double-sided. I think the sides are, yeah, they're not completely random. Well, yeah, they sort of are. This is red and yellow on the back. This is green and red on the back. So it's an assortment. You'll have to look through it. Not really much of a problem. And the artwork's nice. The cardboard is quite thick, so that's good. Okay. The faction cards, you see there's starting income, special ability. The Sun Worshippers get to build a 3rd house. These capabilities tend to be different. I think otherwise they tend to be very similar. It's always 6 and 12 to do the conversion. When you start the game, it says how many start in each pool. You always have 8 power tokens. A difference in Terra Mystica, you don't buy and sell power tokens. You have 8, you always have 8. They just move around. Start with 4 available, 2 that have to be upgraded before you upgrade anything else, and then 2 that are over here. Okay, so each faction, and you can see, now this one is, change the cost, the token, you put it over here when you build this castle, and you uncover the income. The castle will be on there covering it up. This would be when you drop out, you can get a victory point for some adjacent things. That's why you have to look at the card. This side is tricky. The A side here, A side, is simpler, okay? And this power is always 6 instead of 7 to build a city, even though this power is different. The B side tends to have trickier and harder to understand castle bonuses, okay? I don't think that makes them better. Maybe it does, but a little trickier. So sand cats, sun worshippers, but they start with less money, but they get an extra town. Water sprites, sea dogs, fairies, druids, golems, fire sprites, leprechauns, and inventors. Okay. Everybody starts with 7 money except for the sun worshippers, who only start with 5. The board. So here's the board. And I think it might be smaller than the Terra Mystica board, but that's okay. This is the 2-player only side. Okay, and you can see you put the 5 round bonus things here, and then there's some things to help you figure out stuff here. The available power actions here. On the 2-player side, there's only going to be one of these, and it's like 5 actions total. Over here, it's 6 actions. What's missing? This does have 1 shovel, 2 shovels, money, river, bridge. Oh, the thing that's missing is second bridge. It's the same map, it's just one of these is different. I know what I would have done, which is make 2 different maps and give you a cardboard cutout to cover up that. But anyway, wooden components. Well, they're actually quite nice. Very similar to Terra Mystica. These are the castles, big wooden, chunky castles, 2 for each player, 2 for each color. Yes. 3 bridges for each color. They're just sticks. The houses for each player, there should be 8 in each color. Power tokens for everybody, they're all the same. My biggest complaint about this game is that these power tokens tend to roll around a little bit. Okay, not a lot, but a little. You just have to be careful. The trading posts are here for each player, and the 2 player markers, 1 for victory points, 1 for your sailing power. A bunch of bags. These. Oops. For each, they're thin cardstock, but they're fine. For each of the players, there's a power with a better explanation. Let's see, which was that was hard to understand. Oops, this one. So once you build the right palace, when you drop out, gain 1 point for each of your buildings on the board that's not adjacent to the river. Okay, see, so they're explained, even if the symbology isn't super clear. And then there are 2 action phase explanation cards available for the players to pass around. More would have been better, but nobody has an infinite budget. Well, I've only played this game once. I like it a lot. I think the changes they made for Terra Mystica to boil it down a little bit, it doesn't make it a better game than Terra Mystica, but it makes it a smoother, shorter game. I like Terra Mystica a lot, but you don't always have time to pull it out. It's harder to teach. This game is very easy to teach. It's smoother in that way. The things that are harder to understand in Terra Mystica are a little bit gone. And I think it'd make a great competitive game for tournament play if the factions turn out to be not overpowered compared to each other. I know that over a lot of playing of Terra Mystica, people have worked out point value differences between the factions as a handicapping system. I think most people accept as accurate, and that's great. I'm hoping we don't need that for this, but even if we did, I'm sure people will work it out really soon. Well, thanks for watching. I'll be doing some more of these soon. I know I've been spotty on getting them out. I don't have a schedule. It's when I get a game and I have time to go through it like this, edit it, and put it together. I hope the people who are enjoying it. Feel free to subscribe and have fun gaming. Bye for now.